You called your ex a narcissist. Everybody does now. The boss is a psychopath. The roommate is toxic. The guy from high school is a sociopath. We have never had more words for dangerous people, and we have never been worse at spotting one. Here is the part that stings. While you were putting labels on the annoying ones, the real thing walked right past you and collected nothing. No label, no warning, just access. You are not stupid for missing it. You are not a bad judge of character. You were never handed the list. And there is a reason you need it before 30. Specifically, most people meet their first genuinely dangerous personality somewhere in their 20s. First real job, first serious relationship, first friend group with no adults anywhere in sight. It shows up at the exact age when you have nothing to compare it to, so it gets filed as a phase, or a rough patch, or just how things work here. And the cost of learning this late is not counted in bad feelings. It is counted in years. There is also a wiring reason, not just an experience reason. The decision-making part of the human brain, the part that weighs long-term consequences, is still finishing construction into the mid-20s. So the exact years when the most important strangers enter your life, roommates, bosses, first loves, are the years when your alarm system is still being installed. Nobody mentions this at graduation. You get a diploma and a dorm key, and you are sent into a world that contains these 5 traits, with no list and half an alarm. Here is the story you were handed instead, and it came from everywhere. There are good people, and there are bad people, and bad people look bad. They yell, they hit, and sooner or later they get caught, in a way that lets everybody else feel relieved. The school assembly taught it, with a man in a bad suit telling a gym full of teenagers to just be kind. The movies taught it, with villains who have scars and low voices and announce their plans out loud. And your own family probably taught it, with the sentence, "Everyone is nice deep down, once you get to know them." None of those people were lying to hurt you. They were passing down comfort, because comfort is easier to teach than accuracy. But comfort leaves you standing in the open. Because dangerous traits do not show up looking dangerous. They show up as charm, as loyalty, as generosity, as pain. They show up wearing the exact costume of the things you were trained to reward. So this is a field guide. 5 traits that do real damage, what each one looks like up close, and the exact moment each one shows its face. They are in this order for a reason. Each one is what the last one turns into when somebody finally pushes back. And the 5th one is not going to feel like it is about other people at all. That is the one worth staying for. The first trait is charm on a timer. Week 1, they are the most attentive person you have ever met. They text back in seconds. They remember the small thing you said on Tuesday and bring you the fix on Friday. They tell you they have never clicked with anyone this fast. It feels like being chosen. Prout that phrase down, because it comes back later. Psychologists who study abusive relationships call the extreme version love bombing, and the detail that matters is not the love. It is the speed. Real closeness is slow because it is built out of proof, and proof takes time. Manufactured closeness is fast because it is built out of intensity, and intensity can be produced on demand. Think of it like a free trial. Everything premium, everything unlocked, $0. And like every free trial, it exists to get your card on file. The tell is what happens when you slow it down. Say you want to take things slower, and watch. A normal person is a little disappointed and adjusts. This person is offended. Because you did not slow down a romance. You interrupted a schedule. There is a second tell, and it costs you nothing. Watch how they treat people who cannot give them anything. The waiter, the rideshare driver, the intern whose name they never bothered to learn. Real charms spills over onto everyone because it is a temperature, not a tool. Strategic charm is aimed. It switches on for the target and off for the staff, sometimes in the same breath. If you have ever watched a date be delightful to you and cold to a waitress, you did not see a mixed signal. You saw the whole system working exactly as designed. You were just standing on the warm side of it. And the schedule exists because charm is expensive, which leads straight to the second trait. Control dressed up as care. It never opens with an order. It opens with a favor. Let me look over your budget. You are terrible with money. Text me when you get there. I just worry. That bars is not really your crowd. Stay home with me instead. Every sentence, one at a time, is sweet. It is only the direction that is always the same, smaller. A sociologist named Evan Stark spent years studying this pattern and gave it the name coercive control in a book published in 2007. His point changed how several countries write their laws. The damage was never one big violent moment. It was the slow removal of a person's choices, done so gradually that each single step looked like love. It works like an app, quietly updating its permissions. First your location, then your contacts, then your camera. No single pop-up feels like surrender. One day you look up and you have not seen your best friend in 4 months, and you cannot point to the day it was decided. Nobody decided it. It was installed. I want you to hear this part clearly. If somebody manages you down to a smaller life, one caring sentence at a time, the confusion you feel is not weakness. Confusion is the product. It is being manufactured on purpose. But control eventually gets challenged. You push back once, and that is when the third trait comes out, the victim flip. You finally say the thing you rehearsed in the shower for a week. You keep it calm. You use one concrete example. And 90 seconds later, somehow, you are the one apologizing. Sit with how strange that is. You walked in with evidence. You walked out with guilt. A psychologist named Jennifer Freyd at the University of Oregon mapped this exact move in 1997 and called it DARVO. The letters stand for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. Spelled out plain, it goes like this. That never happened. And honestly, it is disturbing that you would accuse me. After everything I have been through, this is what I get from you. 3 moves, 10 seconds, and the person holding the evidence is now the defendant. Here is the sentence that protects you, so say it slowly. The person who plays the victim best is not always the person who got hurt worst. Real victims usually doubt themselves. Performers never do, and the fastest tell is the score. Somebody who has been genuinely hurt wants the hurting to stop. Somebody using hurt as a tool wants it on file, where it earns interest and gets withdrawn in every argument for the next 5 years. The fourth trait is the one your body finds before your brain does. The switch Sunday night, they are warm, funny, wide open. Wednesday, they are a wall. Short answers. A kitchen entered and left without a word. And you cannot find the thing you did because there is no thing, so you start doing the math. Reading your own texts from the last 3 days like a detective, drafting 2 versions of a message and sending the safer one. You know the specific posture. Sitting in your car in the driveway, engine off, phone in your hand, reading the last message again for tone. Screenshotting it to a friend with the words, "Am I crazy? Or is this cold?" That is not you being needy. That is a nervous system trying to solve a puzzle that was designed to have no answer. In 1981, 2 researchers named Donald Dutton and Susan Painter put a name on what this hot and cold cycle builds: traumatic bonding. The finding is brutal because it is so simple. Kindness on a random schedule does not weaken an attachment. It strengthens it. The relief when the warmth comes back gets so big that the warmth feels like proof of love, when it is actually just the end of a punishment. It is the exact mechanism inside a slot machine. Nobody gets addicted to a vending machine, where $1 reliably buys 1 soda. People get addicted to machines that mostly take and occasionally, unpredictably, pay out. If a relationship makes you feel like you are winning something every time they are simply nice to you, that is not butterflies. That is a payout schedule. And you deserve a vending machine. I mean that with a straight face. Boring, reliable warmth is the whole prize. Which brings us to the 5th trait, the quiet one that runs underneath all 4. No working apology. Everybody knows this person. Maybe everybody has been this person for a bad month, which is exactly why this one lands close. The trait is not rudeness. It is the missing repair. Watch what they do after they are clearly provably wrong. There are 3 fake apologies and 1 real one, and you can tell them apart in 1 sentence. I am sorry you feel that way. That is not an apology. That is a review of your feelings. I am sorry, but you have to admit you started it. That is a trade. My mistakes were made. That is a press release. The real one has 3 parts. It names the thing, it skips the word but, and something actually changes afterward. Researchers who study personality disorders point at the engine underneath. For some people, being wrong is not information, it is annihilation. Their self-image is load-bearing, like a wall you cannot take a brick out of without the ceiling coming down. So the brick never comes out. Not with you, not with anyone. And here is the honest cost. You can have real love with somebody who hurts you by accident. You cannot have it with somebody who can never say they did, because every fight you will ever have has already been decided. You will lose all of them. Not because you are wrong, because losing is your job description. Now the uncomfortable part, and I am going to keep it uncomfortable. You read those 5 and scanned your exes, your boss, that one friend, fine. Now, run the list once more, pointed the other way. Have you ever turned up the charm because you wanted something specific? Shrunk somebody's plans because their freedom made you nervous? Reached for your own worst day as a shield in an argument you were losing? Gone cold on purpose and let the silence do the talking? Said sorry you feel that way, and known exactly what you were doing? If the answer is no 5 times, you did not read the list carefully. Everybody has done a light version of at least one. The difference between a bad week and a dangerous person is not the behavior. It is the pattern, the frequency, and whether there is ever a day off. A person who does these things on a terrible Tuesday and feels sick about it. Thursday is a person. A person who does them as an operating system is the thing this video is about. So run it back. Charm on a timer. Care that only ever shrinks you. The flip that turns your evidence into your apology. Warmth on a slot machine schedule. And an apology that never actually arrives. 5 traits, 1 direction, and now they are on file before they cost you a decade. You do not need to become suspicious of everyone. You need exactly one thing: the willingness to believe a pattern the second time you see it instead of the 50th. Trust is not the beginner mistake. Ignoring your own evidence is. And one more thing, because somebody watching needs the practical version. The second time a pattern shows up, say one sentence out loud to somebody you trust. Not a paragraph. One sentence. He went cold for 3 days because I had dinner with my sister. Hearing your own voice say it does something that thinking it never does. Patterns survive in the dark and die in open air. That is not drama, that is maintenance. This one was for the people about to walk into their 20s. And for the people who paid full price for this list and wish somebody had just handed it to them.